everybody. Welcome back to the Rochester Local Podcast. My name is Becky. I'm the owner of Rochester Local, and I'm back with a familiar face, Catharine Richert, correspondent with MPR. She's been on the podcast. This will be your third time.
Third time.
Welcome back.
I'm so happy to be here.
How are you?
I'm great. I think our audience should know that I nearly wore exactly the same thing as down to the sneakers. I had this dress on as I was leaving the house and then decided maybe it just was not quite warm enough. It would have been a beautiful thing. And I feel like I just wanted to make sure that that was on the record.
a true missed opportunity. But this makes me feel really good.
By the way, on sale at Target, right?
Yeah, on sale. Yeah. It makes me feel great because you have amazing taste.
And so do you.
Oh, Cully. Well, thank you so much. So what else is new? Taylor Swift played Paris last night, and we're both wrecked in the best ways.
We learned some things. We learned that her new album, which has been controversial or just the source of discourse, has its own set in this amazing tour. I think I love it even more now, only because it feels like it's a story within the bigger story of the concert.
It is so true.
So good. And I knew, so this album, right? I think you and I don't agree on everything that we like. It has some ups and downs. It is definitely an album, I think, for the fans, which is fine.
Yes.
Because we are.
Yes.
But I knew that there were a handful of songs on there, though it would absolutely slap live. And she plays all of them, and it is fire. And I get to see her again in Indianapolis this fall.
I know.
So
you're going again. You're a double Eras Tour attendee, and I'm so jealous. But you were 100% right when you called the songs. You called them on like 24-hour listen. And you're this. Oh yeah, okay. Excuse. 12 hours in, you. This is the song she's gonna play, and this is the song. And I think you're right. It's what is she doing? She's doing. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. She's doing Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
Tortured Poets.
No,
that's right. She's not.
Down Bad.
Down Bad.
I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
I Can Do It With a Broken Heart.
But Daddy, I Love Him into So High School, which I love because if you're listening closely, the last verse of that song, But Daddy, I Love Him, is absolutely about Travis Kelce. And So High School is explicitly about Travis Kelce.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. And the one that I love the most is Who's Afraid of Little Old Me? I can't even talk about it. And when she, all that we've seen leaked, how she does that on stage is she's just so good. She's so good. AJ says the album is breathy. And I mean,
I don't disagree with AJ.
It is breathy.
Yeah.
But isn't she, I feel like we've seen that on Midnights too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
It wasn't a criticism. Just an observation.
He broke the fourth wall, folks.
Okay, so
I don't want Swiftie hate.
That's what's been dominating our text threads and Instagram threads for
some time. Yeah.
A fortnight.
Yeah. All right. I don't think people want to hear us talk about this.
Probably not. They probably, if you're still with us, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up this summer in Rochester, a big project for you, a little bit of history, a couple events coming up, and just kind of, chat and catch up. So I want to hear about your big project that you launched with MPR, because this was a really big deal and it's a really important project.
Thank you so much for asking. This project is called Talking Sense, and I actually started it more than a year ago, behind the scenes, right? So for a year, we were working on an online tool that helps people have challenging political conversations, helps them think through it in advance, and we partnered with this organization called Braver Angels, which, if you don't know who they are a nonprofit that was co-founded by a family and marriage therapist at the University of Minnesota in the days after the 2016 election, which really certainly was a watershed moment in American history. And the whole concept behind what they do is that they take all these techniques that you experience if you see a therapist and put them into the public setting and go to communities and help them talk about the things that divide them. Yeah. It can be an issue. It can be simply, our community is polarized on the left and the right. And it can also be thinking about the things that we bring to conversations that prevent them from going well. So what are the stereotypes we have about like the other side?
Mhm.
So we compiled all of this into a tool, but it's also a reporting thread that I'm going to be doing all year. You probably haven't heard me do many Rochester-based stories because I'm focusing on stories about political polarization, but also about how communities are sort of navigating through this stuff right now.
Yeah.
And then the third thing that it is are these live events that we've been doing with Braver Angels. We just had our second event in Rochester a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And I have to say, like, it really, if I had to paint a picture a year and a half ago of what I wanted these events to look and feel like, I think the Rochester event really nailed it because we did a few things. We partnered with the University of Minnesota to promote it and to sponsor it. And half the audience were college-age kids who...
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you look at some of the data around political polarization, this is a group that feels so alienated from politics right now because of the discourse and how toxic it is.
Mm-hmm.
We need these people to care about voting. We need them to care about public service.
Yes.
We need them to grow up understanding that life is not full of neat political views and conversations, and that there are always going to be people that disagree with them. But how can we preserve the relationships that are most important to us and not let polarization or disinformation get in the way? So half the audience, young people. The other half of the audience were just community members. There were 5 people who are elected officials or who are running for office who have represented the area in our state legislature previously there. And I think that speaks volumes too about what they're hearing from constituents and the type of political leaders that they want to be. It's great.
It also speaks volumes about this important tool that you founded, you created. And what really excites me about this tool and about this project that you're doing is it opens up the conversation to not just national politics, but really talking about things at a local level, which is
on a household level to some degree too.
Yes, on a household level. So you're talking about differing viewpoints, but then you're bringing it out from the house, and what's the next step? It's local, right? And so having the spotlight shone on local politics too, I just feel is so important. And what a cool project, what a cool story. I'm proud to be your friend.
Oh, thanks, Becky. I appreciate you.
Gosh. So when's the next event? I mean, I know it won't be here, but
so if you want to keep up with Talking Sense, you can go to mprnews.org/Talking Sense. That is sort of our collection page for all of the information about the events, the tool, all the reporting we're doing. MPR News is on the verge of a web redesign too. So a lot of this is going to look a lot flashier and be easier to find hopefully within a few weeks. But our next event right now, it is in the works, but we are looking at an event in Worthington, Minnesota.
Okay.
Which, if you don't know anything about Worthington, Minnesota, it is a community that is remarkably racially and ethnically diverse for where it is and the size. And that is because of the meat packing industry there. This is a lot. We know this story about Worthington. But the reason we want to go to Worthington is because we are in the middle of an election year where immigration and immigrants are being used by our politicians as a form of political rhetoric. Yeah. We hear it everywhere. It's on ads, it's on the radio, it's everywhere. So we want to go to a community and do an event where immigration is not nearly as cut and dry as our political leaders and our politicians would like
as we're being led to believe.
Right. Yeah. And so right now the event is going to be a little smaller than the other ones we've done, where we're going to be doing more of like a storytelling workshop between people who have deep roots in Worthington, have lived there a long time, and people who are relative newcomers. So
that is
stay tuned.
So
You'll be able to hear it on the radio after it's done. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. That's a really fulfilling and truly exciting, worthwhile career endeavor. I cannot wait to follow along for the rest of the year on this. So
thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
So exciting. All right. So we've got that on your professional kind of horizon. Let's talk a little bit about what's on your summer calendar this year. What are we looking forward to in Rochester?
Okay. So the pool at Soldiers Field.
The pool at Soldiers Field.
My kids have like a mini stroke every time we drive by. They can see it like in the distance, the towering water slides
through the trees.
So excited.
Right?
So excited. Yeah.
I am so excited. I just love myself a lazy river, right? So there's going to be a lazy river There's 3 pools. There's a splash pad. There's, I think, a 0 depth entry. And it is like they have been churning on this project. It only started, last April?
I can't believe it's going to be done this summer. Slated to be.
Slated.
Let's just
Slated does not have
reset
official
our
announcement.
expectations here.
But we will immediately have a pool pass, which, plug, if you do not have a pool pass for the Rochester Public Pools, it is an amazing value. I can't quote you the price, but it's something around $200, and it covers, your family for the whole summer. And we also really like the Silver Lake pool. That's really close to our house.
Yeah.
And I think, people think it's old and it has a hard time getting started, and it's true. But it's a great pool, and it has a true deep end and a slot. I mean, I really like it. It's big. I feel like there's never anyone there.
I need to confess something, which is I've never been.
Stop it.
No, I've lived here for 15 years now. I've been in the Soldiers Field.
This is your summer.
Oh, yeah?
This is your summer. My mom grew up going to that pool.
Yeah.
Isn't that sweet?
It's great.
But the big news around Silver Lake is now this Silver Lake remaster plan, where they were going to eliminate the pool at Silver Lake.
Yeah.
Is now looking like, nope.
Yeah.
We're going to put another, which I personally believe is the smartest thing.
We need these facilities, and we need them to be equitable and open to everyone in our community, right?
Agree.
There are lots of pools in Rochester.
Not really.
But yeah, like you have to pay big bucks to get in. And so,
right?
So
you've got, I completely agree with you. We need 2 is great, but honestly, 5 would be better for a city our size. So anyway, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about the pool. I'm also really excited about the Forward concerts that were just announced by Rochester Public Music. I think that this is a really fun, smart thing for that music department to do. There's a free open air concert in each ward of the city throughout the summer.
Yeah.
And what I found really interesting in talking with the organizers is a lot of people don't truly understand what a ward is or what ward they live in.
Yeah.
And so part of the kind of marketing efforts and awareness efforts is they hired a local artist. Her name is Maggie Panetta. She also owns Pops and Tree Dome, to create imagery of the wards where the concerts will be overlaid of the city of Rochester.
Oh, cool.
So I think that's really cool.
That's great. Yeah.
Help people understand like what ward they live in, and that can help inform them, with voting, city council, these sorts of things. So 6 concerts. They start in June, go through August. Free. There's 2 bands, an opening act and the main performance act. There's kid-friendly things to do. There'll be food and beverage vendors. Well-behaved animals are welcome to.
So not your dogs?
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, she didn't mean it. No, they bring in a picnic. I'm just really excited. And then, of course, down by the riverside will be starting up in July.
Yeah, I need to look at the lineup because you
It
asked
hasn't
me
been
what
announced yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking I missed that, but you asked what I'm excited about. Actually, this is like a very low key travel summer for our family. Like we've got the camps going on, and we've got some like side trips to like Lake Okoboji with my in-laws,
fun.
and then
You do that
up
every
north.
summer.
Yeah, we do this stuff kind of every summer up north for a few days. But like beyond that, like we're not doing anything really big, and so I need to be looking
Dial
at
into
what
the local scene.
the options are.
Well, you're going to have to be my eyes and ears, because if you're having a low-key travel summer, I'm having a high-key travel summer because we're going to New Zealand.
Yes, that's right.
I know.
Very
We're going in August. We're going to be gone for several weeks. This is, a true bucket list opportunity for our family. My brother lives there. He was just here this spring. We haven't seen him for years, and so now we get double Mike, who is my brother. So that is a big deal, and we have been planning it
For years.
Yes,
Yeah.
for years. It's a heavy lift.
Yeah.
It's not easy to get your family across the world, but we're going to be in a camper van the entire time.
Oh my gosh.
Picking up our camper van from the airport.
I will check in with you on week 2 to find out if the enthusiasm remains.
I know. I know. I'm trying to be like, okay, we can do this. This is going to be great. We're going to learn lots of lessons about each other. And I did pay.
Do you have ear canceling headphones?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
We all
Bring
do.
them.
I did pay for the fancy linen exchange halfway through the trip. So you can just like drop off your dirty soiled linens at like the nearest camper van expo and get fresh ones.
That's right.
I feel like that'll
That's
really
very
improve
smart.
my mood.
Yeah.
So that's happening. Let's see, what else? I can't really think of anything else that, we need to chat about that's super on point right now. But if anybody else thinks that we should be talking about something, make sure that you email me, Becky at rochesterlocal.com. And speaking of summer, I thought we would read about this because this was very...
Time for our history lesson.
This is my Capers and Codgers, selected stories of local history, published by the Olmsted County Historical Society in 1963. This one is titled, Where's the Ice Wagon? Time is a way of creeping by without being noticed, and there's no better reminder of this fact than your ability to recall things that happened in your past, which are completely, or at least partially, unknown to those a little younger. I like this because it's kind of like a little anecdote-y. A while back, I was showing a young boy a pair of ice tongs, which were used by the intrepid Iceman. The familiar tongs were a strange thing to a youngster, and I thought either his education had been neglected or I was getting older. After some lengthy explanation of the old-fashioned method of cutting ice by hand and storing it away in the ice house amid piles of sawdust, the youngster and myself came to some understanding. We both agreed it was a difficult way to get ice cubes for the summer lemonade. However, I am sure I failed to get across to him the boyish excitement that went along with sitting on the curb in front of the house waiting for the Iceman's wagon. Those of you, however, who used to stand on the hot street watching the Iceman pick the ice into smaller chunks for the icebox know all about it. It may have been river water, but it sure tasted good in July.
Few things come to mind. First of all, that, but also just thinking about how my children wantonly, put their cup under the ice thing in the fridge and it just spills out like nothing. Yeah.
Right. Or how annoyed everybody gets when you hear the all too familiar when you don't have any ice, and how inconvenient it is to wait 15 more minutes for the refrigerator to go through its cycle, right? So now we have an Iceman back in.
Not only just an Iceman explaining the process, but like a kid enraptured with what he's telling him.
Right? This is crazy. And this was like what? This was published in the 60s. So just imagining the streets of Rochester with somebody on their ice wagon going up and down the streets, chipping off blocks of ice made from Zumbro River water.
I'm sorry. That does not translate to current day, but yes, I love it.
Right? And that this ice was stored for some time. So then it would be in the summer and just like stored in ice houses in sawdust. Every time I read something historical like that about the city that I live in, it just drives home like how wild it is that we live here now and these things happened then. And I think
we're building a $5 billion new hospital that's like the hospital of the future that no one can actually truly envision because it's that far advanced.
Yes, like we don't, right? But the streets where that hospital is going is actually where, let's call him George the Iceman, like chipped
the ice
off.
Truck once rode down the street.
It's wild. It helps put into perspective, right?
Yeah.
I think we talk about history and, but putting it into perspective is fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for anyone. It's fun for me.
It's fun for me too.
But okay, well, you have been a delight as always.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you back on. This is episode number 20 of the Rochester Local Podcast. So you'll be back for episode number 30.
I know. I like to keep it on my
by the end of
tens.
the year. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
so
having me.
much for listening.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.